Neglected 130-pound shelter dog goes viral after stepping into its home for the first time. What makes a doghouse a dog home? Well, it certainly takes a lot more than a bowl of food and a corner to sleep in. Social animals to the core, dogs need a loving family. Otherwise, they can spiral into serious depression. For one 130-pound shelter pup, adoption seemed like a distant dream. But after his heartbreaking story made its way across the country, an unexpected opportunity arose for the canine, and his reaction was nothing short of adorable. Cosmo's first few days on Earth were pure happiness. Born to St. Bernard breeders in Nebraska, he was likely headed to a happy home somewhere nearby. His hopes soon sputtered out. As Cosmo matured, potential families passed on him again and again. It wasn't too long before the breeders themselves figured that they had no further use for the big dog. This sad turn of events brought the St. Bernard to the Hearts United for Animals shelter. The organization's strict no-kill policy was one silver lining for Cosmo, but that was about all the good news he'd get. Months passed by without any loving humans coming to whisk Cosmo away to a happy home. He grew lonely, fearing that he would live all his days alone in a shelter cage. But Christy, a member of the Hearts United staff, took a particular liking to Cosmo. He really deserved a good home, so she thought beyond the limited Nebraska community. She shared his info and some photos on an adoption website. Of course, Christy had to be honest about Cosmo's size. The St. Bernard already weighed a whopping 130 pounds, a number which could get even bigger over time. Would families get scared about such a big dog taking over their entire house? Deep down, Cosmo knew his size simply meant he had more love to give. He continued to mope around the dreary shelter but was completely unaware of a special visitor coming from many miles away. She left her home in upstate New York to make the long trip out to Nebraska. This mystery woman stumbled across Cosmo on the adoption site and fell in love instantly. She couldn't wait to see him in person. That's how Cosmo met Jane, and the two of them hit it off right away. After just a few minutes, she called Christy over. The two women eagerly dove into a thick stack of paperwork. With that, Jane made it official. Cosmo will be coming back to New York with her. She led the St. Bernard to her car with the back seat already placed down and converted into a makeshift dog bed. Once confined to a tiny cage and play yard, Cosmo stared out the window as over 1,000 miles passed by them. Beautiful as these vistas were, they couldn't compare to the sight of his new home. Back in New York, Jane led a tentative Cosmo to the front door. He hesitated at the threshold as he hadn't entered a house since he was at the breeders. But once he made it inside, he knew he never wanted to leave. Cosmo settled right into Jane's home like he'd lived there all along. And after he had a nice meal and a snooze, Jane decided to introduce him to the rest of the family. In addition to Jane and her husband, Cosmo met their kids, Alice and Owen. His eyes lit up as he imagined all the good times they'd have together. Though that wasn't the only surprise. Jane's other two dogs, Poppy and Grendel, sprinted over to Cosmo and welcomed him into the family. Suddenly, the big dog had more companions than he could even handle. That made all the difference. Animals just understand life a little bit better than people sometimes, Jane theorized. If they have love and food and a roof over their heads, that's all that really matters. There's no doubt that Cosmo was ecstatic to finally have a place at the table. His new home was a far cry from the depressing concrete and chain-link fences of the Nebraska Animal Shelter. As for Cosmo's daunting size, it's got him into a couple of sticky situations, but at the same time, it's part of why his family loves him so much. Cosmo dove headfirst into the adopted life, though the first day he laid eyes on Jane will always be a happy memory. In fact, every time a dog meets their family makes for an unbelievably adorable moment.